A very warm welcome and a happy new year to everyone. Thank you for joining. I'm Tania from the Global User Groups organization and your host for today. Let me quickly share our session for today. So, with a new year comes a new vision statement. And our new statement is we bring out the best in every business. It is a bold commitment for us, and we support you, the user community, and all end users with live knowledge transfer sessions that also include the possibility to interact with the experts. And today, we have the first session of a concise exploration of the latest updates. It is an entire series made up of 6 episodes. And today we have the first one where you can find out how to maximize the business potential with SAP BTP. Following, we have 4 sessions focusing on the 4 pillars of SAP BTP. And we end with an episode on SAP BTP common concept and strategic direction. Let me quickly tell you what this session is about. So in this session, we delve into the fundamental principles and concepts of SAP BTP and its diverse range of services. We explore the platform's handling of cross-services topics across various domains, including operations, security, service level agreements, contracting, and more. And with this, I would like to hand over to my colleague Toros to share details of other interesting upcoming events.
Thank you, Tania. It's great to be here. I'd just like to mention to you guys, hi guys, my name is Toros Aledjian. I'm like to also let you know some of our upcoming events, webinars that we've got planned, among some of the on-site events that we're working on to bring to you in the coming months. We have a session, What's New with SAP BTP, on January the 25th. We have a new session starting today, Harnessing AI for Financial Forecasting. So today will be the session that for the Americas. For those who are joining us in the APJ or European time zones, we will repeat that session on February the 23rd. And then we are at our 3rd session for migrating ESR proxies, and that session will be for the Asia Pacific and Japan time zone. We do have the recordings for the earlier 2 sessions, so if you're interested, just send us a note or just mention it in the chat. And then finally, accelerate your finance transformation with SAP BTP on January the 31st. Next page. Also, as part of the SAP practitioner, we have several communities ongoing. We have the SAP BTP Garage Series. We have the SAP Screen Personas, SAP Fiori UX Practitioners Forum, as well as the SAP BTP Practitioners Forum, and the latest edition, the SAP Build. If you're interested in joining any of those, please do reach out, and I will send you the link for those communities for you to join. Next slide, Tania. I'd like to introduce our speaker, my colleague Georg Fischer. Georg is a Chief Product Manager for SAP BTP and an Innovation Evangelist. He's a design thinking and business model innovation coach and lecturer for entrepreneurship and innovation at several universities in Europe. I'd like to hand it over now to Georg to give us his session. Georg?
Thank you very much. I quickly share my screen. To find it, and now you should be able to see my screen and you should be able to hear me. Yeah, thank you very much, both of you, for inviting me and giving me the opportunity to share my excitement about the SAP BTP with the audience today. As you could already hear and see in the description, today I will not only talk about what is BTP, what can you do with BTP, but I want to make it really tangible, right? At the end, it's about human beings. I want to show you some videos, give you some examples to really have a 360-degree view on it. And I will not start with just detailing it out, but I would like to start with why. Why is it relevant? And I would start with a personal story that happened to me and it totally astonished me. That's not so long ago. I had a car and this car was not really reliable anymore. So on a vacation trip, we got stuck on the Autobahn. It needed to be towed away and stuff like that. So I was ordering a new car, right? Something I did already several times in the past in my life. So after picking the car, you get a delivery date when it's supposed to be coming. And of course, it's a couple of months that you need to wait. And from time to time, I was calling the dealer and yeah, I didn't get a date when it finally would come, right? And so the time came, it passed 1, 2, 3, 4 months, already beyond the proposed delivery date. I was calling from time to time, but never could get any date when my car is coming, right? And then something happened. My daughter needed to go to a sports tournament and it was my duty to drive, right? And for everybody having kids on the phone, this is a crisis if you don't have a reliable car that you can take that, right? So I was again taking this opportunity to call the dealer. And the answer I got after asking when is my car coming was really astonishing because it said, please, Mr. Fischer, stop calling us. We have no idea when your car is coming, right? So the manufacturer gets the parts. If the parts for your car are there, your car will be built and then it will be shipped and delivered, and then we call you. This being working in a business process company, getting as an answer was quite astonishing. And looking at what this means at the end, right? The whole network that is behind the ordering, the distributing, the building of a car is really, it's a lot, and it's touching a lot of different country, a lot of different logistic area, and also a lot of different providers and automotive delivers, right? So I was really surprised at this kind of an answer. And it's one thing to read about, yeah, we need to be fast, we need to be agile, the world is changing, and experiencing it yourself, right? So what I experienced myself personally, of course, is something that we see happening all over the world, and it's touching people and it's touching businesses alike, right? So it comes with risk, but it also comes with a lot of opportunities, right? It changed the way of how we experience things. It's changed the way how we are doing business. And this is something that is happening right now. So if we are looking at these numbers, entering the platform economy, I'll just get rid of some of the things here, looking about all of these statistics and all of these columns and looking at the years, this is happening while we are talking. This is happening right now. So an answer to be agile, to react fast, to stay ahead and dynamic is the usage of platforms, right? And so we see a broad usage, a huge demand for platforms. If you look at the numbers by 25, we are expecting 75% of all customers have using or are using and having platforms in place for them, but also for their customers and for their partners, right? So for their ecosystem. And leveraging platforms and using them to react on change, to react on opportunities, to leverage and seize opportunities changes to the way business are operating, right? When they are using actively platforms, innovate and transform, they are using software and they are coding and they are creating innovation based on digital environments and infrastructure, getting new skills, new processes, and new ways of operating, right? Even traditionally companies who are not so much digitized in the past, who had not such a broad or big IT department or organization in place, they are also creating more and more digital innovations. And of course, if you're building up this knowledge, you're solving problems, business challenges, or you're leveraging business opportunities by creating digital innovation at one point in time, and we see this more and more coming in our partner and ecosystem, is that people are building something where they say, you know what, this app that is so amazing, we proved it our way. We scaled it, we rolled it out, everybody's using it. It has several versions, it's stable, it's reliable, it's innovative, it's really cool. Everybody would need this app, or at least somebody in the industry or specific regions, right? And then they are starting to sell and leverage this potential as well. And this is something that is happening right now. Reminds me a little bit about when all the gas stations became retailer, or when a lot of companies became media houses, right? Sometimes in SAP, you can walk around and then you see signs, tone studio to the left, video studio to the right? We make image videos, we make reference videos, and we are using much more multimedia to talk and share news to our customers, right? And the same thing is what we see here happening in the platform economy. SAP's platform is the SAP BTP, the business technology platform. And the emphasis is on the B, the business. Business is our business. We have hundreds of thousands of customers, and we are running business software since more than 50 years. So this is our home turf. And as you saw in the introduction, right, so this whole topic of technology, data, agile methods to create innovation is my passion, right? This is why I'm here speaking, right? It's not because it's my job, because it is my passion, right? And taking this to do something new is what I'm passionate about. And so after the digital transformation, we all remember this huge term 10 plus years ago, I was diving a little bit into seeing, okay, what is happening when customers are running digital initiatives? What makes them successful and what makes them fail? And this is something that has proven over many, many years, based on my experience and my interaction with first-hand customers, is that mainly digital initiatives are failing for two specific reasons. Number one is relevance. So a lot of digital initiatives are not tied to the core business or to the core strategy, right? It's seen as a side topic. You are experimenting, you have some tests, you do something in a playground like a setup, but it's not really contributing to the company's value or to the company's strategy. So the main reason, number one, is relevance. Main reason, number two, why digital initiatives are failing is time to value. Right? We have these value generating processes, we have projects, we have timelines, we have milestones, we have quarters, we have all of these time fragments, but we don't tie this innovation and this digital transformation activities into these time strings, right? So it's like, take it, try it out, and whenever there's something happening, then take it back, right? And this is something that we have clearly in focus. All digital initiatives should adhere to something that is relevant and to something that creates a fast time to value. And whenever talking to the value of a platform and what it does, I very often still realize that it's not totally clear about what is the potential behind it, right? It's not only a combination of a few services that you can combine, it's much more. In an industry where this was already very, very successful implemented is the automotive industry. And let me just quickly make this analogy, what happened there, and then see what happens here in the IT business right now. Quite a while ago, things happened because people started to totally individualize themselves, right? They want to express themselves as an individual person by using specific products, and not only by mobile phones and techie equipment that we have or clothes. This was also facing the automotive industry. People are requesting more opportunities to totally customize and set up a car in the way that is for them. They want to have it unique. They want to have their individual designed car that is really expressing them, but it's also something that they don't see all the time. So they ask for a lot of more variation and more of differences on the one side. On the other side, there was a lot of technology change. We saw autonomous driving arising. We saw electric car. We saw connectivity, connected cars, and all of these technology made its way into the car manufactured products. And now the question was, how can I get this innovation, this technology into an ever-growing product portfolio fast and efficient? And of course, you can guess it by now, this is the power of a platform, right? And what we saw already, and most of us experienced live in the automotive industry, is something that we are in the middle happening now in the IT industry. And let me take this analogy a little bit further and link it to what it means for business technology platforms. First of all, they are having, SAP BTP has everything in regard to creating value, to adapt, to transform, and to capture and leverage new innovation, right? It's development, but development in a different meaning than what we maybe have in mind coming from a more classical IT background. So everything that is needed to create digital innovation is part of the BTP. On the other side, the experience of hundreds of thousands of companies of all industry, of all sizes, of all region, put into content, into pre-built models, interfaces, services, workflows, and so on, right? Predefined content that helps you exactly also addressing time to value and relevance, right? You never start with a blank piece of paper. Everything of this part of the BTP. Then we all hear long now, data is the new gold, data is the new oil, right? Are we already leveraging the full potential of data yet? No. Looking at what's happening outside in the last 12 to 15 months with GenAI, GenAI is also data-driven, right? So the importance of data stays extremely high and will even be increased and will be the fundament and basis for a lot of innovation. And so everything around handling, storing, and managing, and sharing and distributing data is part of BTP. And last but not least, partner ecosystem, the innovators in the market that SAP BTP is running on, Microsoft, Google, Alibaba, they are where we are running on these hyperscalers, but also partnering and working with these hyperscalers. So all of this is something that you see as part of the BTP. And to put this now in a two-dimensional picture, this is what it would look like roughly, right? How our SAP portfolio would look like, right? You can give them this graphic a lot of names. I heard like sunrise or igloo or mushroom, right? This is just to get you a picture into your head, so you will never forget this, right? And you see in dark blue the corner of all sustainable and innovative company is our cloud ERP core based on the business technology platform, surrounded by our offerings, industry content, business applications, supply chain, human capital management, and so on. And of course, our strong and long relationship built partner ecosystem on top, building also solutions. Okay, this is our product portfolio. Is this the main topic that is driving you? At the end, what you are looking for is you are looking for running a business, right? This is what you aim for. This is what you're interested in. This is what you're driven by. And at the end, all companies can be more or less, and all of their processes can be more or less be part of these four meta processes, right? Recruit to retire, source to pay, and things. I don't need to read them, right? You can read them all yourself, right? So at the end, this is what it's about. It's about running a business, and running a business very seamless. Looking at today's typical IT infrastructure on customer side, customers in average have 150 different 50 systems. So now we can do the math. Okay, 150 systems. We are talking about 4 meta processes in general, right? We can do the math. So this means that processes are touching several systems, right? And they're not even only limited to the boundaries of a company. They start before entering into your company, and they are also continuing after, right? So it's a network of companies, it's a network of networks. So this is what it is all about. And therefore, it's important that we are emphasizing and also looking at what does it mean to run a business process that is touching so many systems, right? What do we want the user to see and feel about this, right? Should he have different rights in different systems? Should he feel when he's changing system boundaries, leads to log in new, maybe even describe the object that is working on a fulfilling an order, and now he always make sure that everything that happened already on the order is understood and things like that. This is not how it works, right? Therefore, sweet qualities is something that is driven by us in the BTP to really make sure that we can manage these processes seamless. So no user should feel and experience it, and it should be manageable. So this is what is about in this sweet qualities. And the BTP is not just something that we sell to customers. The BTP is something that SAP is using itself. Double way. First of all, creating our products are built on the SAP BTP, number one. But number two, also the IT. My working infrastructure that I use day to day is also made and built by SAP IT. We are their customer, and they are providing and building innovative and amazing products and processes based on the BTP. But also partners, right? Partners are using the BTP. We have hundreds of solutions already built by partners, and it will be, I'm sure this number might be outdated already. And this is also something that we see more and more for customers also leveraging, right? So we see that this is used to make their own innovation, their own products, their own businesses. So at the end, the BTP is a cloud-based infrastructure that fits more or less on 5 pillars. And in the further process of this presentation, I would like to dive into all of these 5 areas to, first of all, give you an idea what it is about, what is hot right now, and what to expect, what will come soon, right? So it's understanding what we are focusing today, but also understanding what will you see in the remainder of this year. I will go from left to right, except with AI. AI is a topic that is so prominent right now. I would like to start with AI first. Artificial intelligence built into business processes. The way SAP is addressing generative AI and artificial intelligence, we call business AI. So SAP Business AI is a term I want you to keep and remember. What we do is we are looking at the opportunities of AI and generative AI in a way of relevance, right? Relevance in the business context. We are just not taking the content or the tools or the prompts or the LLMs and just provide them. No, we are going a step further together with customers, with partners, with our experts from all the individual areas, and look for innovation that can really boost the way you are running your business today. And of course, employee and productivity, right? We are already having a lot of these activities in the last 1 or 2 years. There's a lot of emphasis already in employee productivities. For those of you who have used GenAI already in the past, you know that this is a total way of being productive using these kind of products. And last but not least, it is part of the way we function as humans, right? That for us, it's very hard to understand what is the additional opportunity behind the technology than the common use cases, right? When smartphones arose, a lot of people only compared the smartphones versus the mobile phones. How can I write text messages? How convenient is it to type keyboard versus a glass screen, right? So this is, and the usage of apps, platforms and stuff like that, that came quite a while after. The same is here happening with GenAI at this point in time, right? So today we're in the phase where we are optimizing, but we will also come up soon with totally radical new processes and transforming the way business is done. In the past, we had paper-based processes and we digitized them. Today we might have digitized processes and then we will GenAI them. So these are the 3 areas that you will see. They are based on, again, relevance and time to value. So this is the SAP Business AI approach put on a structure. So you will have a layer on top, Joule. I will quickly explain this, what it is. You will have embedded AI capabilities, and they are based and sitting on the foundation of in SAP Business Technology Platform, and that is sitting on our AI ecosystem and the classic partners and many of the partners that you will see. To put it into different words, you will see that innovation is coming in 3 different areas. First of all, it will be across all the business layer, right? So our digital assistant, Joule, it will be built as vertical innovation into the business applications, into the business processes, right? And that's why there's also BTP part of the embedded AI capabilities, because we also will infuse the BTP with generative AI capabilities. And last but not least, the foundation, the AI foundation, where all of these vertical and Joule-based applications are made out of, and where we are seeing that our customers and partners are building their own innovations and their own generative AI use cases. Already talked about Joule. I would like to introduce you to Joule. And Joule first comes with a very specific color, right? So you will see this nice color. So Joule introduced itself with this nice purple. And this is that you can assign very fast and very easy with our digital generative AI assistant, right? And it has this logo, this diamond logo that you can see, that you can then use to activate it. And I would like to quickly show you what a use case could look like, right? So you see on this, the right screen is that somebody was entering into Joule. Give me some statistic about a specific business, about a specific time frame, about a specific industry or geography, right? So it is asking, in this case, like a guitar business we are running, and we want to see what are the sales in different areas and regions, right? And now we want to understand not only inside our corporation, but also outside, right? So how is the guitar market developing? What does this talk about? What is music doing in these days, right? Is it growing? Is it growing everywhere? Specific regions? Where do we have opportunities? Go outside, use external sources to get this kind of information. Now, based on this, we found something, right? We said, okay, that's cool. There is an industry where we see or a region where we see there's a lot of interest, but we are not present there, right? So let's think about we want to create there an office, right? And for this, we need somebody to run it. And so now we would like to hire somebody, right? So we need a head of a specific location. And we already have heads of locations, right? So why do we need to start with the posting from scratch? Maybe we can see something or can leverage something from people that are already working for our company. We take their job description, we take their last posting and just use it, and we add it, we add a date. We are always in control at the end. And then, of course, we are talking about augmenting humans with GenAI is that at the end, you go over it. Is this what you want? Is this what you're looking for? And then you approve it, right? And this kind of a scenario is something how a digital assistant can be used in the future. And you will see more in this direction in the later slides. Of course, when we're talking about this, right, we also have some boundary conditions to consider, right? I mean, of course, usage of GenAI and AI in general needs to adhere to some standards. And therefore, we have 3 guiding principles that are overarching all of our activities, development, and products in this area. That's relevant, reliable, and responsible. First of all, it should be relevant. Relevant, again, is tied to the business. So it's not a technology play. It's a business benefit play. It's a value play. It's a relevance play, right? Therefore, we are looking into the business and using this technology to improve business processes and business operations. On the other side, it needs to be reliable, right? So it needs to be reliable in a way that we all know that there's hallucination, right? We all know that there is always a reset. We know that there are knowledge lack of your specific company data, right? How can we now provide this information in a way that when you are using this generative AI, when you're using Joule, that you are getting the answers that are relevant to you. If you ask about, give me the job description of a person, then it has to be an existing person in your company, an existing job description. So this is something where the information and data that our customers and you are using is the basis for this reliable operation. And last but not least, responsibility, right? We know about all of these security, privacy, and ethic aspects of AI and KI. And AI and KI is not new for SAP, right? We are working in this field of machine learning and artificial intelligence since many, many years. I think it was now 5 years, at least 5 years ago, that SAP was the first European company adhering an external ethics standards, a governance board, and we are really exposing these kind of ethic guidelines to the public, and we have external guidance and also internal. And so this is really something that is closely tied in to the way we are creating AI. Okay, so this is just to get an idea of what is happening in the pillar of artificial intelligence. Now let's come to the application development. So here it's about creating innovation. We all know these persons and the people in our company, right? I know when I have a problem with my travel expense, who to call. Don't tell anybody that I'm sometimes not just using the processes, but if I'm running into trouble, I have somebody to call, or in HR, or in finance, or in control, right? We know all of these people who know their business in and out. They have a long history, they have a huge network, and they know all the processes, the objects, everything. The only thing that differentiates them from a developer is that they are not trained to code, right? If we can add all of these additional resources, and we call them citizen developer. These are the business experts that can also contribute to the transformation and innovation of a company. This gives us a huge additional potential. I was once sitting with a customer talking about innovation opportunities on the way forward, and we had a very close alignment in how we see the opportunities for this company and what they could do and what they should do, right? And then I was surprised, but nothing of this has already started. So what is hindering you, right? And this person grabbed a newspaper and said, okay, we are not a global brand. We are a mid-sized company. Nobody knows us, right? So we are a hidden champion, but we are not very popular. Our brand and our image is not something that everybody knows, right? For us, it's very hard. We are always posting jobs, but for us, it's very hard to get qualified personnel, right? So in talking to many companies, what is hindering the use of GenAI? What is hindering you in driving innovation? It's very often that there's coming the lack of skilled personnel, hiring the right people, right? And we don't always only need to look outside. We also have the capacity, and we have the amazing people who are extremely experienced in their area of expertise in our company already. And this is a hidden potential that we want to unleash. And this is what is in the so-called citizen developer or low-code, no-code environment, right? So classically, this will create two different versions of coders or innovating creators. Of course, we have and continue supporting and developing and increasing the life of the pro coder, like the people who do professional coding in the ABAP environment, in a Java and cloud native environment. This is obvious, right? Now, allowing the citizen developer to contribute to the transformation of a company and driving their innovation forward is under the umbrella of low code or no code. And the product here is SAP Build. It comes in 3 different flavors: SAP Build Apps, SAP Build Process Automation, and SAP Build Workzone. In this point, we want to focus a little bit more at this point in time on SAP Build App. So this is the idea of getting the business people to solve business challenges themselves, or to make things easier and faster and better, or even leverage new potentials. Now, there's this classical word, depending if I'm talking to business people or to IT people, right? They're not used that they are very often work constantly in a handshake mode. And this is something, that's why we see the arrows in the middle, right? It will start in this kind of two organizations, but over time they will grow together. We talk about fusion development. A professional developer also wants to use all possibilities to make his life easier, faster. Everything that is not creative, it's not challenging. Why do this over and over again? If there's a simple drag and drop opportunity for make my life easier, of course they will do it, right? On the other side, we have the business people, right? Maybe they are not able to completely fulfill everything or reach their limit at one point in time, and then reach out to the professional coders, and then they are working hand in hand. This is what we see more and more coming on company side, that they are coming together, they're having ambassadors for each other in the organization. And we see that these boundaries are melting, they're teaming up, silos are breaking down, and they're working together. In case you have never seen how a low-code environment would look like, I have a very short video, just 20 seconds. Yeah, if I do it right, you can also see it. Just simply what you want to do. You want to build a mobile application, right? You describe it, you give it a name, then you can drag and drop, you can drag fields, logos, and things like that. So you create it, and then something magic can happen, right? You connect it to a backend, or you can inherit an authorization without developing all of this into detail. So you can drag and drop, and then just, again, leverage business content that you already have, like, for example, authorizations or connections to specific backbones. This is roughly how it looked like. SAP Build is now on the market since, I don't know, more than a year, and we just announced SAP Build Code. Here we are now adding to this fusion development, to this citizen developer development, we're adding generative AI code building, right? So this is the next step, and this is piggybacking on the citizen developer, right? So this idea of you don't have to be a professional coder in regard to contribute to digital innovation, but you can also be a citizen developer. You can even not need to drag and drop. You can just talk to somebody who's helping you to code, right? So we are talking about Java and JavaScript, optimized app development with SAP Build Code. It's a brand new product that we announced at TechEd last year to come in this quarter. So stay tuned. Of course, when we talk about GenAI, we talk about training, we talk about data, right? So it's also very important. That's why Integration Suite and DataSphere is mentioned here as well. To really get the full power, integration and access to data is extremely important. So this is what you want to see to come. And to give you a glimpse, a labs preview also of how this could look like, just a quick video here as well. There's somebody who wants to create a loyalty application, right? So he starts with SAP Build, and then he wants to create an app. We have this lobby, we call it, where you can decide classical, low code, no code, or generative AI code. And then you just take Joule and you describe what you want, right? It's not about you're not playing a role or whatever crazy fears there are out right now. It's really you describe, you need to have an understanding of what you want and what the outcome should look like, right? And then the AI is creating something, code, based on your input. And you can then just simply, you started your own project, and then you can just simply, based on the result of the prompt, take this coding and transfer it into your project. And the cool thing is you can now continue from there, right? So you can now go into these data models, you can go into the services. I want to make sure that we are not spending too much time here. I jump a little bit further, and you can continue entering something here and there. And now we are in the area of the project logic, right? And now you have an idea how the project logic or the application logic should look like. So how do you create the loyalty points, right? And then you, again, in this part, go into Joule and continue working on this. So it's really like you have somebody next to you that you talk to that is joining. They do a little bit, you do a little bit. So you're working on this together, extremely increasing the efficiency. I don't want to play the video till the end. I think you got the point where it is going. So this was pillar number one, was AI. Pillar number 2 was application development. Now let's have a look at automation and optimization of business processes. At the end, in SAP Build Process Automation, you get all the parts and pieces you need to create or improve business processes. Let's take a simple example about traveling in these days, right? I know that COVID is overemphasized, but for the sake of simplicity, since COVID, the travel regulations are different, right? And the approval process might be a totally different one, right? You need to maybe show that you have the vaccinations, that you understand what are the risks of some quarantine, what are the risks of some infection, legal specific, country specific regulations and things like that. And this would be a totally different workflow that is now running, right? So and you need to describe this process. You have some forms where you want to interact, right? And maybe you also want to add some intelligence. If you anyhow send an email or got a document asking your manager for approval of this, or you already got a calculation, what is the train or the flight costing, why not leveraging this as well, right? So using intelligence, manage this, add a workflow, some rules and things like that, RPA, if this makes sense. So everything that you need to describe a process and an automated process, right? Sometimes customers say, okay, great. We want to use this, we see it, but how do we start, right? And sometimes you start just with business challenges or the needs that you have anyhow. If you, it's like spending 6 weeks of vacation, right? At the beginning, you read all the books you wanted to read, and then you ask yourself, okay, what's next, right? And the same happened here, right? So where do you get the triggers from? And there are 2 main areas that I want to emphasize here. First of all, as a design thinker, I'm user-centric, right? Why are we not asking our customers more? Why are we not asking our partners more? And this is experience management with Qualtrics. I worked with a company that was a huge market leader, and it was a huge market leader because the distance between number 1 and number 2 was so big, right? So they couldn't even see number 2 already. And their strategy of being this big market leader was very simple. And that was, we want that the whole partner ecosystem, that for the partner ecosystem, it's so convenient, so fast, so seamless to work with us that we always will be their partner of choice. Everything they change, all new product, all changes, whatever they first want to do with us. So we are, for our partner ecosystem, the go-to company that they went through. And therefore, they constantly monitored and talk to them. Do you have all the information? Is there some hiccups? Can we streamline something and things like that? So they're constantly evolving their processes based on their partner ecosystem and the development of their industry. Signavio, big topic. I don't know if you follow this along a little bit. A lot is happening also in the space of, intelligence, process insight, right? So with all the experience and benchmarks of these many companies, we can guess and we know how businesses are operating, how processes are operating, how average processes steps take, what is a good value, what is a bad value, right? So now imagine this being triggered, analyze the system, you get a value. This is an area where you are far below benchmark. I was in a situation where a customer realized they're 8 times worse than the benchmark, and then they were totally shocked and surprised. It's okay, why is this? Let's have a look. What is happening, right? So it gives you a starting point. Doesn't mean it's wrong. Maybe they have some specifics that make this perfectly right for them, but you get a starting point, you get an indication, right? And then get proposed how you could increase this, implement this, go live, and then recheck this again and understand, okay, how much did now this process automation improve my current situation? And this can be a standalone automation, but this can also be then continued and integrated into some applications. Again, if you've never seen how this looks like, it's not like a total surprise. If we imagine a workflow, it consists out of a tree, decision tree. It's a graph. You have conditions, you have if greater, smaller, if it's this, who has to approve, what needs to be done, and things like that. So it looks a little bit like a tree. And again, you can drag and drop and then enter these fields. But also these kind of business processes can be pretty work intensive to create, right? They can be complex, getting all the input, who's responsible, what happens with this amount, what happens then, what happens in this organization, and things like that, right? So it's not so easy to always find and get. It's a lot of research. It's a cumbersome activity, right? How about we could use an artificial intelligence solution helping this, right? I also had a video, but in regard to the time, I would like to skip it. Let me give an idea of where we are. Okay, is that we want to have a starting process for something specific, right? And then the system automatically is making a proposal, looks what is existing, fills the fields that are available. And then, as you have seen in SAP Build code, you can continue working on this, and then you can go again back and forth with this innovation process. So that was the third pillar. 2 pillars are left. Integration. Integration is extremely important. Considering we have 150 systems, we know integration is important. Considering data is the new gold, is the new oil, integration is very important. Looking at generative AI, data having availability of the size of LLMs, we already hear this, a foundation model, right? Access to data and integration is important. So integration is an extremely important topic. And of course, this has to work very easy and streamlined inside the SAP environment and the SAP landscape. Nevertheless, 70% of customer integrations are integrations towards third-party applications. Therefore, the SAP integration suite is one or the most used BTP service. Thousands of companies are doing their integration based on SAP integration suite. And it's not only an application to application, API to API, it's very complex. It's business to business, business to consumer, it's business to governments, it's event driven and so on, right? It's a very complex situation. And of course, there's constantly some changes. We are having a high attention on this, see what additional technology is coming up, what players are coming up, what vendors are coming up, and things like that. And as soon as they play a role in our partner ecosystem, they come into the pipeline of providing some integration and support to integrate into this environment. Same here, right? An integration is quite a task, right? And it's also has a lot of dependency. And what if we could also get some support here? And this example I even like more, it's a lab preview again, is what if we not only could get an idea or support in designing the integration flow, but first of all, also by understanding what is already available, right? We have thousands of pre-built integrations. Just identifying and searching and looking what is relevant in this example is some effort, right? And in this short example, we showed how this could look like in the future. I said, okay, I want to connect this and that, what is existing, right? And then you get a proposal, what kind of integrations are there, and then you can look at them and you can add them to your workflow or to your workspace, and then continue working on this and things like that, right? So there's a lot of productivity gain also in this integration field. And last but not least, data and analytics give data purpose. This is a big topic. This is a topic that I like a lot, because very often if you just look at data, only focusing on this, what is there, what is missing, what is the opportunity, just working on data, you get a lot of insights. I have really amazing innovation workshops with customers where we are just focusing on data and the value of data that we can create. And the data strategy handles everything, right? It's even before data creation, right? Do we create all the information? Do we have access to all the information that we need, right? So the data creation, the storage, diverse formats into the same database, preparation, using, modeling, and things like that. And I think on the right side, where it's more like an investment topic, we are relatively good already. A lot of companies are able to manage and maintain as soon as it goes into the value generation, into the creation, into the planning, into analytics, into sharing. We see still a lot of deficits, right? How can this be even that now all of this knowledge and solutions are in the market for so long? And the thing is that still the innovation pace and speed is so fast that the number of systems that pop up that are creating data, and the volume of data that is created in this ecosystem is still outpacing the management activities that many of the companies are driving. And we looked a little bit closer into this area and talked to people and talked to our customers and to the companies and try to understand what do we need to do, how do we need to drive our investments in regard to create the best value. And if you look at the different needs that business and technology have, they are quite broad, right? If we talk to business, then they want to have a self-service and real-time. What does it mean? They would like to get access to the information when they need it in a language and terms that they understand. It doesn't help them if they get a cryptic table or a cryptic report that they then always need to translate and analyze and whatever, right? Or even ask somebody to provide it, and then the data is a week old, right? So for them, they want to have the data as a fingertip in their language, most current, flexible, and easy to use. On the other side, we see the IT and technology needs saying, okay, yeah, but there's a lot of governance and regulation, right? This landscape is growing, it's very diverse, right? How can I govern this? And how can I simplify this kind of access to exactly support these kind of business needs? And this is where we have SAP DataSphere as the foundation for what we call a business data fabric architecture, right? So it's like interweaving, that's the kind of the fabric where we are having a layer between the providers of information and data, the application, the lakes, the warehouses, the databases, and whatever structured and unstructured storage places we have on the one side. On the other side, all the consumers for different planning or analytic purposes, data science, but as well as putting this information then in further data-based intelligent applications, right? And so this is the layer in between. We're also working with a lot of partners here that are providing the individual services, governance, self-service, and things like that to exactly allow this. Also here, I'm more like a transactional person, so I always had trouble and challenges in thinking in the terms and language of using analytic products, in this case like SEC or DataSphere. So for me, this was always a tough one to think in InfoCube and data structures in the past, right? So how can we use GenAI in regard of fostering this? And the answer here in this environment is what we call Just Ask. So Just Ask is a GenAI-based simple infrastructure and interface that is allowing us to work and interface and retrieve information by using prompts in this case, right? I give you an example here, right? Total revenue, right? So it's just this statement that we blew out. Of course, this is not very helpful, not very meaningful, but it gets you a starting point, right? And this is, for example, how I very often function. I need to first have a rough idea and then I trim it and tailor it. And this is exactly the way that it will also work here, right? So you're asking about what you see, you can still, with the results, you can work in the interface. And then when you need additional support, go back to this prompt, right? Again, also like we saw in the app development, this is something that we will realize in the future that we are having with generative AI offerings, the opportunity to go back and force to have a very simple and easy start, to take over, to trim it, to add something, to personalize it, right? Go back for areas where it's okay, now it's good, now I need this, and then we move on, and that way we are very fast in creating an outcome. Let me give you, coming slowly to the end, a few customer examples, and I try to pick 3 extremes. First of all, I would like to share Homemade. Homemade, you might not know, no wonder, it's a small startup from Australia. In Australia, the healthcare system, and I know that there are some people from Australia, so I'm very careful not exposing my lack of knowledge about the specific retirement process in Australia. But at the end, and what I think is really cool is that the retired people can manage their budget and their portfolio themselves. So what was needed was an application that allows elderly retired people to manage their budget. So it needs to be easy accessible, it needs to be understandable, and it needs to be complex, also attached to financial information, insurances, and things like that, right? And Homemade, together with an SAP partner in Australia, created as their business basis this self-service portal from scratch based on SAP BTP. Let's go to the other extreme, right? One of the biggest companies in the world. And what I like about this agile hiring application scenario is that this is just in a very specific context. This is how I would like to see innovation happening in the future. Like in this case, onboarding, and as we know, Nestle is a big company. Of course, there was a lot of workload in hiring people, right? Even if they have a regular attrition like every other company in the world, if you have hundreds of thousands of employees, the numbers are bigger, right? But the manual work stays the same at the end. And using intelligent artificial intelligence and really making the onboarding like an activity that's in an instant happening by creating all of the bank account number, creating the personal record, giving you access to the system and things like that, that was increasing the speed extremely fast. And it happened inside the hiring, the recruitment department of this company, right? It's not something that always the board needs to decide. It's not always something that is impacting the overall product portfolio. In this case, we have a challenge. How can we speed up the onboarding of our new hires, and using the BTP and intelligence to solve it? And last but not least, public services, City of Hamburg. I love this example because it shows what is possible, right? When we were facing COVID and the lockdown, especially the artists, the people who are in the theaters, in the musician space, they really suffered because not only they had no income in a very short period of time, so very often they had to pay the event location, they already bought the catering, they have long-term contracts, right? So instead of not only having an income, they still had the costs. And within 3 weeks, the city of Hamburg, even not only for Hamburg, but for whole Germany, was creating an application that all of these artists can apply. It was linked to their records, to their tax data, financial data with the authorities and things like that. So in a very fast cycle, this was created, and there was the payout to these people to bridge the COVID downtime and the crisis that they were experienced during this period of time. And Hamburg ran this centrally for Germany and additionally leveraged this kind of innovation when something similar arises, right? In Germany, we have the opportunity for young people to get a culture pass, right? So we want that younger people, young adults, are having easy access to culture, to museums, to shows, to whatever. So also there, they have a budget and they can apply for this pass to get significant benefits, and they're just leveraging the same infrastructure. It's the same core principle. Somebody applies and gets some information. Okay, coming to the end, I know I'm late. Where to go? Me listening, talking is the one thing. You doing what I told you or what I talked about is the other thing. I would like to encourage you to have a look at the SAP Discovery Center. We do a lot of effort to make it extremely easy and exciting and entertaining to just take you on a mission to get your feet wet with the first BTP experience, creating the first app on a mobile app, creating your first GenAI use case or whatever. Go and check it out. Number one. Number two, Business Accelerator Hub. For those of you who are already using BTP and don't know about this, whenever you are thinking about a project or an activity, this should be your first stop, right? Don't start with a white piece of paper. We had a workshop with a customer where they immediately want to jump into the creation of an app, and by just leveraging what was there, yeah, they didn't find the 100% exact solution that they were looking for, but they found so much that they could start with and then just adapt it. And if you save 30 or 50% of the effort, I mean, don't start with a white piece of paper. And last but not least, everything that is interesting and coming and that I showed you as a labs preview, which of course is subject to change, is also something that you can always keep yourself updated, looking in the Roadmap Explorer and the Innovation Highlight. And with that said, I'm at the end. I enjoyed this session. I hope you too. I hope I could get across a little bit of my excitement about this topic, to see what is the potential, the opportunity behind it, that this is a new way of thinking, of working, of solving today's challenges, of working together inside the company, and it has just started. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Georg, for this excellent presentation, providing this great overview of how SAP fits into our portfolio, and all, not detailed, but what SAP BTP covers. We don't have much time, but let me quickly ask a couple of questions we had in the chat. So, is BTP only a platform for customized applications?
For customized application, no. SAP BTP is your innovation infrastructure. It sits aside, side by side, to your landscape, on-premise, in the cloud, and this will be your hub for innovation, for change, for transformation.
Great, thank you. Then this is more detailed, but we have two questions on that, and maybe we can quickly answer that. Will DataSphere have all the functionalities of data intelligence?
Oh, there will be sessions in this direction. I would push this there, yeah. Therefore, I'm not up to date, the latest. There's so much happening in this huge company in T&I. There's so much innovation coming. I would rather postpone this to the colleagues for data and analytics.
Perfect. Yes, actually, it is the next session on February 8th. Now, we have from the user groups always certain questions that always come in. What are the first steps you would recommend with SAP BTP?
The first thing that I would recommend is, because I hear so often that, how sad is it that you want to start something, go into the right direction, solve a problem, leverage an opportunity, right? Grow your business, and then you don't have the right resources, right? I really would encourage you to get yourself familiar with these topics, right? Use the Discovery Center, do some of the sessions, and start thinking in your own business context. What is the stuff that you're always stumbling about, right? I was participating in a customer hackathon, and they were really opening up to the world, to all industries, to all departments, to all areas. And then you could see that the people in the different department, whether it's a warehouse, whether it's in logistics, whether it's in HR, whether it's in finance, they know where they are struggling all the time, what is inconvenient and things like that, right? With the BTP, I would to have the skills, but also the mindset to not get stalled when there is something that you don't like so much, but get into a can-do attitude and a can-do approach, right? Innovation, changes, improvements have never been easier than it is today, and this is just the beginning. So get into this skilled approach, and then try to apply it into your business.
Great, thank you so much. Since we are on top of the hour, thank you again, Georg. Thank you everyone for joining. If you like the session, please like it and join our channel. Have a great day, a great evening, depending on where you are. Goodbye.
Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Thank you.